My friends, and you are my friends, and welcome to a post-game show, a wet post-game show, as the heavens have now opened after being dry all afternoon, just in time for us to do a live show. So if you do like what you see, if you do like what you hear, if you do want to support the channel, like, subscribe, super chat, and of course go to Kofi, hit the join button on YouTube, make it a bit worth it getting wet in the rain, Phil. And you nearly got a selfie of me and Adi behind the camera trying to figure out why it wasn't working. It's all gone all right here. But anyway, it all went all right in the end, Phil.
Just about. We salvaged it in the last dying few minutes of the game.
We did.
And we shouldn't really be doing that. If we want to secure a top 2 berth in this league this season, we need to get on top early on against teams like West Brom, who have still got some Premier League players there with enough, quality and experience to hurt teams in this division. And even though we didn't concede in the opening minutes, we still conceded the first goal.
We did.
From then on, this afternoon, it was a real uphill battle.
Excuse me. Apologies about that. That's the tail end of a bad chest. But, we did concede in the first 15. We got through that hurdle. Thank you very much, Colin. I appreciate that. But we did concede first again. And then we got ourselves back in the game. And then we conceded a second. And and I'm obviously speaking of this live outside the stadium, just walked out, haven't seen any replays yet. On first viewing, Phil, Haladki's got to save that for me.
Yes, yeah, from where I was sitting, I was obviously sitting behind the goal at that end of the ground, like I usually do. And to me, the ball just appeared to go through his arms. And I think more importantly for me, it came as a result of us dallying about once again with the ball around our own area.
Gave our own ball, gave the ball away again.
We failed to clear our lines yet again, and I think Vaz really should have had a hand on that. And you don't want to give John Swift space and time on the ball in and around any penalty area because he's going to punish you, and he did. And it was a fairly clinical finish from him this afternoon.
And talking of clinical finishes, the first goal, for me, Wolfie's got to be so much stronger there.
Yeah. I mean, like I've just said, West Brom have got the players there. They've got the players, the experience, the agility, and the know-how. And
they're a big team, aren't they?
Yeah, physically they've got two.
Team.
I think they've probably got the biggest 2 centre-half pairings in the whole of the Championship. And I was just thinking, looking forward to seeing Kiefer Moore start this afternoon, like he did. We all expected that he was going to start, and he did. I thought he probably would have fared better this afternoon in today's game.
I thought he did okay, actually. How did you see his game? Because I thought Keith, had the ball up when he could, had that one chance at the end that he was desperately frustrated with, and will probably want back.
Yeah, he's not the same as George Hurst, but I think Kiefer Moore's work rate this afternoon was all right. I thought that, even though today we weren't at our best. Yes, we got off to a slow start, but I thought generally his work rate was good. I thought Kiefer Moore's work rate was good. It's just a bit unfortunate that if he got onto the end of 1 or 2 better chances in the first half, I think the outcome this afternoon would have been different.
Yeah, quite possibly. All right, 2 more questions for you. First of all, have you got one more thing for me before I ask you the last question?
Well, I've got a few more things to say.
Perfect. Fire away. Go for it. I'll go to chat. Right. Fire away.
Yeah. I want to talk about the referee this afternoon. A lot of you guys know that, I spent 8 years as the man in black in the middle. And, it really grates my goat to see Premier League referees allowing players time and time again to deliberately waste time. And West Brom did that this afternoon. We were all shocked at the end of the first half when the 4th official put his board up to signal.
But they've got the answer for that, Phil. It's blue cards, sin bins. Do you see that working?
Well,
they currently manage the law?
No, I don't. I think the game will become more confused. I think we're going to have more infringements. I can't honestly see a player receiving a blue card and then sitting out the next 10 minutes, and then when he comes back on, one of the opposition players to have a go at him. I think we're going to see more controversy, more confusion, more cards, more needless cards, and we're going to see another trial of this in the Premier League, especially in the Premier League, like what we've seen over years and years of Premier League, where they've trialled things like moving the ball forward 10 yards when a player shows dissent at a free kick. That was ineffective.
Yeah, where did that go? That's something
we're going to see this blue card trial.
We are,
and it's going to fail spectacularly. It's going to fall right on its face, and the Premier League chiefs are going to have egg on their faces. They really are.
The thing is, Phil, I don't think anybody will disagree with you because some will say it's a part of the game and etc. But I mean, today it was like early as 33 minutes. The ball was taking an entirety to get itself back into play. So people won't disagree with you about the time wasting. The real issue is how you deal with it. And for me, if you have a weekend where many players get sent off, you watch the clubs suddenly stop doing it. Because that's the only way you're going to be able to tackle it, really, truly, is by using what powers you've got, which is a yellow card and then another yellow card.
Yeah.
And if you have 5 players sent off...
But the thing is...
the thing is, though, Phil, to finish that point, that's why it doesn't work, because no referee wants to be on the national headlines. Referee X sends off 6 players for time wasting, because you're going to be national front page news. No one wants that, do they?
We had 2 Premier League referees in the 2 games, right? And I was saying to the chap right next to me, I said, for decades now, Premier League referees have become lazy. They know that when they step out onto the turf in a Premier League fixture on a Saturday afternoon or Sunday afternoon, they know they've got replays to fall back on. They know they've got the TV cameras there, so they don't actually have to give a decision when an infringement's caused in real-time play. And you know what, right? The introduction of these blues cards is a waste of time. I think also, what is the point? What is the point of introducing another disciplinary card for things like dissent when referees, especially Premier League referees, don't book players for time wasting anyway? Like this afternoon.
You're upset with time wasting, right?
Yeah, I mean, so look, this
we all share your pain, Phil.
Look, I'm annoyed that we didn't win this afternoon because we should have beaten Preston last week.
But we didn't.
We didn't. No, right? Okay, and I don't know who my man of the match this afternoon.
That's the last question for you, Phil. I'll bring Colin in because our Kofi's slightly roaring back.
I thought Clark worked his socks off today. He had a.
Sorry?
I thought Clark worked hard enough, despite the yellow card.
Phil. It's about referees.
No, that yellow card. Well, I would say from where I was sitting.
That was madness of a yellow card. He's got the ball.
But then again, he also came around behind the player and went through him before he got the ball. So
Phil, he's got the ball. It's a perfect tackle.
I'll have to see the replay again. Maybe we could discuss this on tomorrow.
We're going to have to, because I thought it was a perfect tackle.
We'll have to discuss this. Right, okay.
Phil, we love you and we appreciate you.
One more thing.
Go and tell the pub about time wasting. No. Now you're time wasting, Phil. Have you a blue card in it?
Blue card of beds.
Pretty quickly. Very quickly.
One more thing.
Quickly.
Right, Ipswich will finish in the top 2 this season. Okay, I believe in McKenna, and I'm confident we're going to do it because there's no way that Southampton will go the next 16, 17 games unbeaten, and there's no way that Leeds...
No, you're time wasting, Phil. You're padding it out. I love you. I appreciate you, Phil. As always, welcome in. Colin, I'll start you off with a comment from the chat. We've got Bury St Edmunds Blue. Kiefer gave us such a good outlet from the back today, held the ball up well. A lovely option that we so desperately needed since losing Hurst. What are your thoughts on that and on Kiefer Moore?
Couldn't agree with that comment more. Couldn't agree with that comment more.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. Plenty more of those coming.
No, obviously, his height and his size is always going to, make him, a striker that's always going to be very, very hard to defend against.
Yeah.
But his hold-up playing that, I mean, look, he didn't score today. He came on at half-time last Saturday, as we all know, scored twice. And really didn't have, and I agree with what Phil said earlier. I mean, he had 2 kind of man mountains against him today.
Yeah.
And he dealt with that well.
He did.
Didn't win as much as you probably would have liked in the first half. But having said that, I thought his all-round game today, Martin, was very, very good. Very, very pleased with him, as I am with Al Hamadi.
He looks really sharp. Really a shrewd, sharp.
I said to you off air, didn't I, Martin? I would presume, putting my football head on, I would say somebody or even 1 or 2 scouts from town or personnel from town have probably been watching him for quite a long while. And yes, I've read over the last week or so, he's raw. Of course he is. He's come from League Two. But I think this lad, I mean, I know it's...
How close did he come today, Colin? So desperately close.
He was so sharp. He's so sharp. I'd love to see him have 90. I really would. And I said to Chris, who I sit beside, Chris from Newmarket.
Big up, Chris. Hello, Chris.
And I said to Chris, I'll tell you what, I'm not going overboard. I would love in the net, if not at Millwall, over the next couple of games. I'd possibly say Millwall.
Yeah.
Let's see what he's like over 60, 70 minutes. You know, you probably have to change your style to do that. Agreed.
It's not always a bad thing, though, is it? Changing styles, your own team.
Not really. I mean, you know, he's obviously going to be a fantastic option off the bench.
Yeah.
His pace.
He made that space up after the
fantastic. He's one of those players that I can see. And I'm going to say this. I can see that lad playing in the Premier League.
I agree. No, I agree.
I really mean that. I really mean that because he shows. I can remember seeing Ian Rush down here when us and Liverpool were in for Ian Rush.
Yeah,
we were both in for him when he was at Chester, and I remember we played Chester in FA Cup tie. I think it was the 5th round tie. Here, Rushy was still at Chester, very, very, very raw.
I think what you're saying
next thing you know, he was at Anfield.
Yeah.
Really pulling up every trigger thing.
Now, what you're doing is not comparing him to Ian Rush, obviously, because Ian Rush is a legend, and we don't know how good Ali will be. But what you're saying is, and I agree with you here, is he's got instincts, which you can't teach instincts in a football player. You can teach everything, but the footballing brain, the know where to be, the instinct in a striker, and he had that today. You know, he's a raw player making his way in the game.
Nobody's denying that, Martin,
but he's got those instincts in that box, which you can't teach that between the years, and he's got that for me.
No, I totally agree with what you said a minute ago, Mark. A second ago. Look, I'm not comparing him with Ian Rush. I'd be stupid to do that. A bloke who scored over on whatever it was, 250 odd goals for Liverpool at the highest level. What I'm saying is that lad, Martin, has come out of the old 4th division.
Yep.
Into what we would call the old 2nd division, right at the top.
Yep.
Top end.
Yeah.
And he's played against players today who've been playing at the top end, right top end. Some of them West Brom boys didn't look out of place whatsoever. And I'll tell you what, right, people might say, Colin, you're going over the top there. Am I? I'm not so sure I am. I'm not sure I am.
I once called Raheem Harper Player of the Year, so I'm not one to judge on.
But also, what I would like to say, Martin, and I did say it earlier. Look, I see Rich always goes on about Harry Hindsight. And he's absolutely right.
Oh, he's spot on.
But yeah, absolutely right. Anybody can call stuff over. I thought Hutchinson might start today.
How did you see Wes's performance, and then compare that to Hutchinson over the last 2? I guess
I thought Wes done a hell of a lot better today in his all-round game compared to last week. I mean, everybody knows he didn't have a very good game last week.
No.
And to be fair, I always say it, don't I, Martin? You don't support one player, you support the team.
Yeah.
And I must admit, I was a shade surprised at the team lineup today. I was surprised that Burgess wasn't even on the bench. But there again, like Rich said earlier, he hasn't played a lot of football. I get that. But like I say, one or two calls today I was slightly surprised about. But, yeah. I mean, you've got to give... I mean, we weren't brilliant the first half. But no. Alanke could have, in my opinion, might have been covered, I don't know, with a shot for the second goal. But second half, we was equally as good as we was poorish in the first half. And there was only one team ever going to win that game. They were on the ropes. I mean, it was underlined by, at the final whistle, there was about 5 or 6 West Brom players sitting on their bums.
Yeah.
They all went down like as if it was shot.
Because they were knackered. Both teams left everything out there. Man, the match for being Coxie?
it was a lot of like sevens today. Man of the match one pushed.
You are pushed.
I thought Broady done a lot better today.
Okay.
Thought
Yeah.
Broady done a lot better. But I'll
Acceptable.
tell you what, I'm going to give it to my man. Because I thought he should. I'm going to give it to Al-Hamadi.
Okay.
Bless his
It's a bit of a
little heart.
shocker.
No, because I want him to feel loved. I want him to want to play in that first
All right,
team, which
all
I'm
right.
sure he does.
I love that. Appreciate it. Do you
Yeah.
agree with that, Aidy?
Yeah, I agree with that.
Oh, Aidy agrees with you behind the camera. It's good. Big up. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, we
Well,
can't do these
A lot
shows.
of people will laugh at that, but I just thought him. Can I just say, I think him and Kiefer.
It's not one more thing, is it?
So yeah, I think him and Kiefer. I know we're not going to play a two, but do you know what?
You'd love to, wouldn't
I
you?
think they'd be a lovely two. I really do. Kieran ain't the changer. I know.
No, I know.
But
Shame, isn't
do
it?
you agree? They look a good two.
They look a good to you, yeah.
That ain't happening, is it?
No, it's not happening. No,
Anyway,
it's not happening. Colin,
lovely
appreciate
to
it.
see
Look after yourself.
Yeah.
So, by the way, we can't do these shows without obviously the people coming on, which is Phil, Coxie, Colin, but also the man behind the camera. Big up Aidy Croucher. Give him a lot of love in the comments, please. Lots of blue hearts if we can. Look after yourself, Colin. Because we can't do the show without this man here holding the camera today because I forgot the tripod. And I really do appreciate it. So, Aidy, thank you very much.
Good old cameraman Croucher.
Oh, yes, Stonemarket. Of course, we are also partnered with Stonemarket Osteopaths. If you need osteopath or physiotherapy services, give Freddie a call. Stonemarket 61666. Oh, I've forgotten the number. I've forgotten the number.
No,
Oh, I've had a week off. And I've
Oh,
had a week off, Coxie, and
it shows.
I feel like a player that's returned off his holidays following the World Cup. You know, I was good 3 weeks ago, but I'm suddenly well off it. That's
Not
embarrassing.
match fit.
I'm not match
Okay.
fit. No. Talking of match fit, talking a bit about midfield too, because I thought first half particularly, obviously they're very match fit. That's not really a good segue, but they weren't in the game as much as I wanted them to be in that first half, which is really where our problems first half came from. How did you see it?
Yeah, good point. Yeah, I think Mass and Morsey, pretty much like Preston last week. They're not in the game. Yeah, they were kept out of the game.
Just by the way, someone got Osteopath 613 633. Even with the glasses on, I couldn't read it. But it's 01449 613 633. Give Freddie a call. Don't tell him I messed up the segue.
Yeah. And somebody wasn't holding up the phone on
Yeah. Sorry, Fred.
Yeah, it's pretty much like the first half of Preston last week. Morsey and Mass were not really in the game. They weren't imposing themselves on them. Was it? There were two up against the three last week, and perhaps they're up against the.
But it all, I always say everything in football begins and ends in your engine room. And last week you say it was a 3 fair point, but they weren't quite at the races at points. No. First after that, I thought our major problems were stemming from just being overrun in that midfield and being overawed. And I thought Jed Wallace, it's Jed Wallace, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Well, certainly Wallace. Yeah. I thought he was phenomenal, but their best player, Asante Thomas, was taken off, and I couldn't believe it.
Well,
when he went off, I was celebrating.
So was he the guy who scored the first goal for them?
Yeah.
No,
it was the guy who scored the first goal, I believe, in the first leg. But he was their striker, every time he was dropping deep and causing issues with Morsey and Luongo. It's why I bring him up, because you've got that striker dropping into the hole, Coxie, which causes an issue in the back of your mind. Because do you drop with him, or do you press forwards? And that was constantly, I felt, on Morsey and Luongo's mind, which is what the issues were sort of stemming from. Was do we go? Do we stay? Because it also asks you questions of centre halves. Do they go? And if they go in with you, do you leave the space in behind? And I thought first half tactically they were good, but midfield wise we weren't so great. How did you see that?
I think you got it right there. I think it's just literally is tactically, kudos to West Brom there and their manager. He obviously that was the tactics and played it absolutely fantastic. Sometimes you have to say that, but that was causing problems. And Mass and Morsey not at the races in that first half.
No, afraid not. Obviously, Wolfie first goal we've spoken about. How did you see Fridge's performance?
Now we're standing here now. I can't recall him doing anything.
Lots of diag, doesn't he?
He does love a diag, and they're quite good balls as well.
They are, but he loves a diag.
After last week at Preston, they had the best game, and apparently there's been half-hearted apologies by the FA for that performance there. But
it's gone, no, you've got to flush it.
That's gone, yeah, you can't think of it. That's not coming back.
Treating now with a fridge plays Connect 4 and just goes to the dice every time.
Yeah, he's good on the old dial. Yeah, but great balls by the front. Yeah, but yeah, he had a good game today. But for that first goal, Wolfie should be making the tackle long before he's got in that penalty. But he was once that player got away from him,
once he's away from him, you don't want to throw
Yes,
out a penalty.
that's it.
But it's got to be stronger for me.
Yes.
Second goal, we've heard from Phil. He says,
Second goal from my vantage point down in the corner, and I can't really comment on that. But a lot of you guys have said that Alaki could have done better, so I'll have a look at that when I'll get him on the old highlights later on.
Well, this is it. And obviously, we've not seen it back, obviously, yet. And from where I'm sitting, Cobble stand up.
You must have had a good view from where you are.
I just thought it wasn't the greatest shot in the world, and certainly it wasn't a shot that should be going in the back of my net. If I've got a goalkeeper that's going to take me to the Premier League.
Okay.
It just didn't feel, and I've not seen it back, so I might watch it back tonight and think, what an absolute stupid take live. But right now, live, having not seen it back, I don't think it was a spectacular shot. I don't think it should be going in.
Probably got a point there. I think from the celebrations from if you go by the celebrations from the West Brom players, they were sort of like, it's a bit of a luck. Yeah, it shouldn't have really gone. Yeah, from
you don't shoot, you miss 100.
If you don't buy a ticket, you don't win the lottery.
Exactly, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So fair play to John Swift. He's got that in his locker. It's not to say he's the player that can't do it, because he can, and he's done it today. But I just didn't think it was we'll see it back and we'll talk about it more tomorrow. Anything else before I let you go? Because it's starting to rain again, and obviously
it's getting a bit nasty. Like you said, Keith and Moore done very well today. He's given us a bit of the old what we get from Hurst there. Set pieces, they had 2, if not 3 men on him. They definitely saw this thing. I had me when he came on. He looks hungry. Yes, he is raw, like Colin said and Phil said. But let's get him on more while we're hungry. And we know, as long as we got holes in our backsides, that Kieran's not going to play 2 up front. But it's a shame because at the end there they linked up.
They did look good
in that little briefing. But we're not going to say that with our Kieran, are we? But what a shame.
Yeah, well, we never know. You never know. He's adaptable. But we're live. We're back tomorrow. We're live right now, but we're back live tomorrow. I am well out of practice. 1:30. Join us then for more breakdown. As always, thank you for watching. Like, subscribe. But as I said before, a huge thank you to the man behind the camera, Aidy Croucher, for doing what he's done this afternoon. He will be on this show after the next home game because I will have the tripod with me. Of course you can.
Just one quick point from a town fan. Stick with it. When's the last time we had 5 or 6 crowds for 29,000 plus at our ground? It's been a long time. We will get there. Just stick with it.
Perfect words to end on. As always, thank you, Craig. Thank you, Cox. Thank you, Phil. Thank you, Colin. Thank you, Aidy. See you tomorrow at 1:30 with love. Let me just get the iPads and press the button properly. With love, with care. Adios.
See ya.